Our next speaker is Steve Hyatt. Steve is a competent communicator and is working on level 5 in that presentation mastery path. His 10 to 12 minute non-project speech is entitled How to Win Friends and Influence People, based partly on Dale Carnegie's classic book by the same title. In this speech, Steve will reveal how Carnegie's timeless principles apply in any endeavor you are involved in. The project Steve has been working on in level 4 is leading in your volunteer organization. Throughout the speech, Steve will express gratitude to his fellow Toastmasters, public servants, veterans, American heroes, and his beloved late parents. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Steve Hyatt.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Every day, I'm reminded that our life's journey about the people who touch us. I want you to raise your hands if you are touched every Tuesday night at government meetings. See, great moments are born from great opportunities. Tonight, I have the amazing opportunity. I won't let you down. I want to talk about Dale Carnegie. He published a classic book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's perhaps one of history's most celebrated books on interpersonal relationships and persuasion. Principles are just as relevant today as they were in 1936. When the book was published, one of Carnegie's favorite quotes is, "Isn't what you have, who you are, or where you are. It's what you're doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It's what you think about." The bottom line of this classic book is how to make other people feel important. In my 5 years at Toastmasters, I've gone over great books such as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, See You at the Top, Cities That Are In, Acres to Diamonds, Earl Nightingale. I'm not a book salesman, but although I was a hell of a book salesman from 1979 to 1985, see, I believe that my responsibility to pay for my education, not the American taxpayer. You all heard about my remarkable parents, Don and Lynn Hyatt. Actually, Don, Lynn Hyatt Bellow. Don Hyatt, the poster boy of American Free Enterprise. You know, I eulogized my dad 7 years ago. I talked about what I consider to be silly sayings, until I realized that it was the foundation of a great life. Like, people don't care how much you know. I want to care how much you care. I want to know how much you care. People don't want to be impressed, they want to be appreciated. See, one thing my dad realized is a person's name, the most important name in the world to them. He always demonstrated. At Christmas, my first wife came for 6 kids. All the kids would come over. My dad would go up and introduce himself. I would always be behind him. He'd always say, "Steve, what's his name? What's her name? Who are my kids they have?" I'd fill it all in. You walk up, let's say Kathy, for example. "Hi, Kathy. How you doing? How's Eric and Jay doing?" Kathy was blown away. I hadn't seen Kathy for a long time, so I saw her at my son's wedding on May 5th. What she said to me, "Steve, how's your dad doing? I know he passed away." The fact that he remembered my name, that he knew my kid's name, and everything to me. See, my dad was a master. He understood how to work with people. When he passed away, Jane and I put together a funeral. I called people in business associations. I called the Porters, LPM from Administrative Bench. They all said, yeah, we'll be there. When I looked out on the crowd at church, I looked back, in the back row were the row of porters. See, my father didn't care where he came from, didn't care what city they were living. Everybody deserves the same dignity and respect. A good example is when he sold a car to Hank Stram, who used to coach the Kansas City Chiefs. He called me and said, Steve, will you go and deliver this car to Coach Stram? He said he was saying Brits. I said, sure. By the way, Steve, we're going to the Dolphin game tonight because Coach Stram gave me 2 tickets. I said, great. So we're going up the elevator. Mr. Huizinga walks in the elevator. My father looks at Wayne and said, Wayne, how you doing? My name's Don. My son, Steve. Huizinga was kind of taken aback. He looked at my dad and said, well, nice to meet you, Don, Steve. He treated Mr. Huizinga like he'd treat the lowliest porter. He understood. People want to feel important. You see, Carnegie talked about, people want to hear about, want you to hear about their story. I want to hear about you. My son, for example, look at on Facebook, he says, Sir Richard Branson said, you can't learn anything by talking about yourself. He said, I always listen to other people. I practice all at 5-star. One thing about my dad, he was willing to do what 99.9% of people are willing to do. The other half, my mother. There's a rock group called Mike and the Mechanics. They recorded a song called In Living Years. Look that up. He talks about being able to talk to people and be able to say something. When their parents are gone, they're gone. I can remember years ago, 11 years ago, Jane, who's here today, called me. I was in San Diego on business. She told me my mother wanted to talk to me before she died that night. What I wanted to do, be by the bedside. I wanted to hold her hand. Just tell her how much she meant. As I said before, when they're gone, they're gone. You got something to say, sit down, pick up the phone and call them. I'll never have that opportunity, ever. I'll forget it for the rest of my life. Carnegie's central principle is make other people feel important as much as you can. Faith. One thing I've discovered by reading books by Armandino, Tony Robbins, Zig Earl Nightingale, Stephen Covey, and Dale Carnegie, that they all had a genuine faith in God. Dr. Hartzell Wilson once said that a faith in God is like a flange on a train, keeping wheels on the track. So the train doesn't go off course. So where does the power come from? See the race to the end. From within. Your life consists of 2 days, with a dash in the middle. Make the dash count. 2 days ago, I went to Memorial Day celebration that Nick was at. To celebrate heroes. When a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a hole what they gave us is beyond our ability to repay. When a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, it's a break in the hole. All we can do is remember them. Chief is with his daughter tonight. I respect your service, sir. Thank you. The odd thing to have him or her, the odd thing to have these people died in defense of our country, in defense of us. Our imagination gets away from us, plays tricks on us. Our minds think about these people being old and wise, like the founding fathers, gray and gray haired. But they weren't. They were all boys. See, they had two lives. One they were living, one they would live. What they gave up was to be grandfathers, be husbands, be fathers, all dead, gone, for us, for our freedom. I can't give a speech about gratitude, about thanking people like that. Thanking people that gave their lives. They didn't volunteer to die, but they volunteered to fight for values that are all important to us. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one that does the greatest things. He's the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. Ronald Reagan, great hero of mine. All these people gave the last full measure of devotion. President Lincoln said in 1962 during the Gettysburg Address. Ultimately, I come down to gratitude. I'm so profoundly thankful for Nick Smith, Jim Barber, people I've known for 5 years. My friends, people that support me. It's funny. When you're putting together a speech, you look for things that motivate you. I watched a movie called Shallow Hal. It was about this guy. He actually meets Tony Robbins in another way. Tony Robbins hypnotizes him. See, the inner beauty in people. These really, like Gwyneth Paltrow plays a version of like a 300-pound woman. But Hal sees her as a beautiful woman. I thought about that. I thought every Tuesday I had the privilege of being among the most beautiful woman on the planet. Mr. Toastmaster.